Hoo-ah! There it is, fam. We got, we're having titles when we're talking about people getting whacked. We need to have a little Al Pacino in there. You know what I'm saying, fam? I wish I had a sound bite from The Sopranos or something more appropriate for you today. But welcome to the show. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
Excuse me, you're Commandante.
Well,
Fiorella.
Yes, clearly.
How you doing, fam?
Those are my pronouns. Commandant, Commandante. Just so you know.
Oh, fam. Wow. I mean, we missed the show Friday. And my God, when, we talk about living in a cartoon, holy cow, fam. Crazy stuff this weekend. Crazy stuff last week. A lot of stuff in the future. New names introduced at the Rage Against the War Machine March rally in February 19th in D.C. Tulsi Gabbard is added to the bill. Ann Wright going to speak out there. Ron Paul is no longer doing from a video. He's coming into town. And they are going to announce another special guest that will be speaking via video. So it's going to be awesome, fam. I'm very excited on February 19th. If you can make it out there, ladies and gentlemen, you know the bill. Everybody from Jimmy Dore, Max Blumenthal, and others. Anya will be speaking to as well. My boy Wyatt Reed. Love you, Wyatt. He'll be speaking as well. Fam, just excited to be part of an event because, there's been a lot of conversations going in. We've had Scott Horton on the show. We talked about our disagreements. But either way, and like I said, I'd rather be having that conversation from what we saw over the weekend with the friggin' balloon. Oh, my Lord. I mean, completely exposed themselves, fam, meaning the warmonger right, the populist right that's supposed to be all like, not war, right? Like I saw a tweet out there, like who was the most anti-war president out there? And a lot of people actually putting Donald J. Trump as that anti-war president. Meanwhile, over a weather balloon, somebody was ready to launch bombers from Guam, and you had lawmakers really just go, this is crazy.
Yeah.
It's fam just completely showed themselves, completely exposed themselves. Your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so a couple things. Look, are there people that don't deserve to have a platform at that anti-war rally or that I don't like? Absolutely. Maybe like a few. At this point, guys, this is about stopping a World War III because we're very close. And we're going to talk about why we're very close. The United States isn't just pushing war with Russia. They're also escalating tensions with China, Iran. I mean, I could go on. So you not liking somebody is not as important, or me not liking somebody is not as important as actually going there and speaking out against war. And a lot of people are just really lost on the left, and they get mad. Like, why is this person there? Well, put on your own goddamn anti-war rally because we're just not all going to agree on this stuff. And like I said, I really, really, really don't like some people going or speaking. Oh, well, it's more important to not die of a nuclear war than who we don't like. So that's what I got to say about that. I think it's dumb that there was a going back and forth with Scott Ritter. He should definitely speak. He's one of the loudest and strongest voices of this conflict. RT just did an interview with him about when he was the weapons inspector to Iraq and the UN weapons inspector, and he really revealed so much of what was going on there. So if you haven't seen it, go to RT.com and you can watch the interview there. With Scott Ritter. We've been covering 20 years since the war in Iraq, and we'll get that at the end. But I want to just comment on what you said. I tell a lot of people that here, sometimes people here in Russia don't understand the dynamic of American-U.S. politics. And they see, well, the Republicans are, saying they don't want war with Russia, and they don't want these weapons sent to Ukraine, so they must be better than the Democrats, right? No, guys, they're not, because they want war with China, and they just take turns. So this is exactly what we're talking about here, what Pasta's saying. They are so quick to just turn on those war drums for the enemy that they don't like. So it doesn't matter at this point, but it's really bad. It's not surprising to me. We've been talking about this, you and I, Pasta, that the moment something goes on with China, we knew that these people were going to come out and start beating the drums for war. This is what they do. And yeah, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah. Please, guys, if you can help out, get me to the Rage Against the War Machine protest. A couple people have left some Venmos, a couple Cash Apps. Anything helps. $5, $10, $20, $2. Everything helps, guys. It really does. I'm going to be doing this one out of my pocket, not using the funds for this from the company, because we have to go to Cuba. And by the way, there's my Venmo right there, and there is my Snapchat. My Cash App, not Snapchat.
It's Snapchat. Hey, everybody, go follow Pasta on Snapchat, where he posts cooking videos and selfies.
Pasta Jardula for the Cash App. For the Venmo, it's at Craig-Jardula. Please help out. But guys, the main thing is too, is we're still putting this together. GiveSendGo.com/the combo in Cuba. We're trying to make this happen, guys, and we can use your help because it's going to be really expensive. As far as the flights, it doesn't cost a lot of money when you get there. It's just getting there, which costs a few dollars, especially when fam is flying from the other side of the planet,
Yeah.
So please, if you can, anything helps. And we thank you and love you guys. All our Patreons that are still there. Anybody who leaves these rays, everything is just great, guys. Thank you so much. Fam, you got some, you want to start with this one, the breaking news, correct?
Yeah, I have to start with this because we do have to talk a little bit about what's going on. Unfortunately, there have been thousands of people that have died as a result of earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. And it really started out. I mean, I get up for work I'm at work at 6 a.m. So that was the story. The earthquake happened in the middle of the night after 4 in the morning. So people were woken up out of bed, and of course, all the information kept pouring in. So over 2,000 people are dead following this earthquake, because it's not just the earthquake itself, or where it hit in the epicenter, but it's also the aftershocks that happened after the earthquake. So that, I think, is what people don't get. There were so many aftershocks. There were some until recently, earlier today. Here for us, it's now the end of the day for us and Syria and Turkey, but it really just kept coming, all these aftershocks. And so we've been covering it all day on RT, but I have some videos from people like Vanessa Beeley and others. Vanessa Beeley is in Syria, so I made sure to check in with her to make sure she was okay. And she is okay. But it was really scary for a moment there, because I'm like, wow, Vanessa's there. One of my colleagues just traveled to Turkey, and I had to check in with him as well. So
who was that?
Who
was that?
One of the anchors. His name is Murad.
Yeah, that's my boy. You know how I love Murad.
No, not that Murad. There's two Murads.
Oh,
There's an anchor and a correspondent. It's the anchor, not the correspondent. But
I still hope that other Murad is safe. So let's just put it that way.
So anyway, so and so this is something that's a little bit different, though, because you can't just say, oh, this is terrible because it's an earthquake. It is terrible. But Vanessa Beeley wisely points out the fact that Syria is already devastated from a decades-long civil war, right? And Vanessa was quick to talk about that and point that out. So Eva posted this clip from Vanessa Beeley giving us a breakdown as to what are the conditions that are going to affect Syria.
Syria is suffering. I mean, this is devastating for Syria. The areas of Aleppo, Hama, Idlib, Latakia, the coastal areas have been hit the hardest because of they were closest to the epicenter in Turkey. Mm-hmm. In Aleppo, I think it's something like 89 buildings have collapsed. And we also have to remember that during the war, the terrorists, backed by the West, of course, had dug vast cities of tunnels underneath the residential areas of these cities. So the foundations were already made fragile by the war itself, and then, of course, by the war itself, the bombing, the aggression from the terrorist groups. Syria is suffering. I mean, this is devastating for Syria. The areas of Aleppo.
Yeah, fam.
Yeah. And just for numbers wise, the death toll in Syria is 1,060, and Turkey it's 1,651 people, and injured in Syria 2,400, injured in Turkey 11,119. That number is expected to still continue to rise. Here are some pictures Vanessa posted. This is Syria. And like I said, Syria doesn't really have the infrastructure for this. Turkey is better prepared. They had a really bad earthquake in 1991. I've been interviewing people all day on this, and they're better prepared. However, it's still really going to affect them economically. I mean, when you have something of this magnitude. So we're just showing Syria right now, and yeah. Really bad. You know, there's nothing. I mean, I ask people like, what can the government do to protect people from this? There's really not much you can do other than have like a plan in place for when it does happen. You can't really predict earthquakes. Now there is, fam, a conspiracy. I don't even know if it's conspiracy as much as like a reality. So I pointed this out earlier because this was put out there. There was a near where this earthquake happened was where there was some weapons stored in.
Oh, fam. Really? I heard there was like a gas line that was blown up or something in Turkey, and it was like right after they were like not too cooperative in the NATO votes to get some people to get into, the little club, the little group. So there are multiple theories or little conspiracy theories floating around there, fam.
Yeah, well, the pipeline did explode. It was literally on fire in Turkey. That happened. That's a fact.
Was that from the earthquake or was that from something else?
No, it was from the earthquake.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, you can understand how, conspiracy equals conspiracy theory, says DC. Thank you, buddy.
But I do want to point this out. This is something I shared on my Telegram. I said it should be, this is from this picture. It should be noted that the distance between the earthquake center and it was near Kahramanmaraş. That's the earthquake center. And the right circle in this picture was where the U.S. and NATO Incirlink base is less than 140 kilometers. So the distance between the epicenter and where this NATO Incirlink base is 140 kilometers. It is known that the U.S. government had been storing at least 50 nuclear bombs in this base until 2019. So they're just noting that people are noting that this is a thing, that this is actually there. So so I wanted to point that out as well. So there's a couple of videos here, and just a warning, these videos could be
no time for conspiracy theories. Too much shit going on. Okay.
All right.
There we go.
So, okay, and we have that video. We have
one more too, though. I have this one. I have one more.
Yeah.
So let me get on that for that. These are some crazy stuff that
this is Aleppo.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this one on real quick.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
So these are buildings collapsing after. So again, like the aftershocks caused the collapse of buildings, and even when search and rescue teams were there getting people out of the rubble, more collapsing was happening. So it made it worse. They definitely don't have enough people in Syria. They have more resources in Turkey. However, it's been questionable before because Erdogan, before he only allowed the resources to go to those who agreed with him politically. And there's always questioning as to where these resources are going to go. Nobody's really talking about that, but that is another thing. And then both, of course, Iran and Russia have already sent help and said that they'll be sending help to those affected, both Syria and Turkey. So that's just something I just wanted to start off with. I recommend going to RT and Press TV that have been covering the numbers and everything extensively throughout the day since the morning over here. So, yeah.
Nice. Fam, great stuff. Guys, I just shared out on Twitter the Rumble link, fam. I just sent it to you in your DMs. But guys, if you want to share the Twitter, you can share that tweet. We are on Rumble right now. We are rocking it. We got about 50 people almost on our Rockfin. 14 premium watchers. Thank you so much, Fred Edward and crew, for doing that. And over on the YouTubes, fam, we are about 155 and climbing. It is early. That was just a breaking news we are bringing to you right away. Fiorella Pasta here, Convo Couch, breaking it down. Thank you for standing by on us on Friday. We had some stuff going on, so we had to cancel, but we are back here today to put it down, fam. You ready for the next section or anything else?
No. Let's go ahead and go to the next section because I think this is something we need to talk about. These, at the end of the day, neoliberals and neocons shake hands when it comes to war. And that's something people need to realize. You're not going to, nominating Marianne Williamson isn't going to solve your problems.
What are you talking about, fam? She's the one. She's going to bring us out of the, No,
I had to say that because people are stupid. So I had to really say that.
They still believe that's a thing, huh?
What year is it? It's 2023, guys. Come on.
Well, this is the crazy stuff right now, and I don't know. Let me make sure I want a better title, but let me see how big this is. If I can make it bigger. Yeah, right there. Okay, so Bennett, fam, Natalie Bennett, this is the ex-prime minister, right? He assured me at Moscow meeting that he wouldn't, Putin assured me at the Moscow meeting that he wouldn't kill Zelensky. Now, this is back in the beginning of the war. I think Bennett was the first one to travel to talk to Putin, and he just released this recently. The ex-prime minister also says that Russia agreed not to push for Kiev's disarmament. Former premier says everything he did was in coordination with the U.S., and this is going back to the beginning, like we said, of the actual war. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said in a video published Saturday, fam, that the Russian President Vladimir Putin assured him that in the early days of the war that he wouldn't whack Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He said he wouldn't kill him, but I'm using the term whack. Hoo-ah. He gave me two great concessions, Bennett said of the March 5th, 2022 meeting with Putin when he flew to Moscow in an effort to mediate shortly after the Russian invasion began. I knew Zelensky was under threat. In a bunker, I said to Putin. Do you intend to kill Zelensky? He said, I won't kill Zelensky. Bennett recalled in the interview, which was published on his YouTube channel. And that was just recently. I need to understand, are you giving me your word that you will not kill Zelensky? And this is Bennett to Putin. Bennett said the Russian repeated, I will not kill Zelensky, fam. And this is the big news that's coming out there right now. Now, the question is, fam, that was in the beginning of the war. In your personal opinion, do these terms still apply? And I'm not talking so much about the whacking Zelensky, fam. I'm talking about the disarmament of Kiev, about the removal of the government in Kiev. Does that still stand in your personal opinion? Go ahead, fam.
Those are two different questions. So the first question, do I think Putin is going to kill Zelensky? No, I don't think Putin's going to kill Zelensky. He doesn't have to. I think that the United States and the intelligence apparatus will take care of Zelensky themselves once they're done with him. Puppets for the U.S. regime that are foreigners are disposable. to the U.S. regime. They're willing to kill them via a proxy war, right, to the last Ukrainian. So they're just using Zelensky to do their bidding. Now, for the second discussion is, do I think that the government of Kiev will still stand? So I believe Sergei Lavrov answered that in a recent interview with Sputnik News, and in several of the speeches that he's had recently. If the United States and NATO continue to give weapons to Ukraine, and Ukraine continues to push and continue in this war, Russia will need to increase and continue to push back, because Russia fears that Ukraine and its NATO pretty much caregivers are going to come into Russia's borders and try to invade Russia, because that's exactly what they plan to do. We know the Minsk Accords were just buying time for them to be able to do this. And so they see it as they no longer trust these so-called agreements that have been made. So the more that the United States and NATO insist on supplying more weapons to Kiev, the more Russia is going to go in there and try to stop them further inside Ukraine, in order to make sure they have enough distance between all of NATO and Russia. And that was said by Sergei Lavrov multiple times. He has addressed that question. So do I think it's changed? Absolutely, because they've shown that they're not willing to negotiate, that they're willing to not have any sort of peaceful agreement that says, we respect the sovereignty of Russia. We respect that Russia is its own people, that the people of Donbass have chosen to be a part of Russia, that the people of Crimea have chosen to be a part of Russia a long time ago. They don't respect that. They're pushing that Crimea needs to be part of Ukraine again. That's what they're pushing. So the more they push, the more Russia's going to be like, well, we can't let you even close to our border. So we're going to continue moving on. And if they push, that Kiev is just going to go down. But this is not something Russia wants to do. Russia does not want that. Russia wants to end this whole conflict now. I mean, they've been saying this the whole time. They don't need Europe right now in terms of the gas situation, the energy situation. They have India, Pakistan, they have China, they have other markets, and they're building relationships with Africa and Latin America. That's happening. They don't need the EU. However, that is up for the EU to decide if they're going to continue letting the United States boss them around. It seems that way. So with Germany sending 1488 weapons to Ukraine, you can tell where they stand on this conflict. I don't think that's a coincidence, by the way, but that's exactly what Lavrov said. So you're right. That is not going to apply if the United States and NATO continue pushing.
You know, the answer to that question, my personal answer to that question is no. Putin will not keep his initial promise. This was in the beginning of the war, when he thought that after the invasion or after the military actions, there would be some type of deal brokered. And instead, what did the West do and the United States do, along with France, England, and everybody else? They amped it up. They pushed up the funding for the war. They provided more weapons, advanced weapons. So at this point, I think that they've just kind of washed their hands with the whole situation, saying, listen, at the end of the day, we're not going to keep our initial promise, okay? Because it's obvious that every single step of the way since 2014, you've used the Minsk Accord to just buy more time. You had never intended to have a peace agreement. You were just biding time so that you could have a war. That's what the U.S. wanted. If their end game is a war, what choice are you giving that person in that country to defend their own sovereignty? You know, I believe that Russia is justified for their military actions the same way I now believe in the Second Amendment. Right? You have a right to defend yourself. And they made it, clear. All right. We know now, this is from going back from what we heard from the German prime minister. They never intended on honoring the Minsk Accord. They didn't want peace, fam. They wanted war. So, to justify or at least recognize what Russia is doing is to recognize that Western foreign policy, that American foreign policy, is very bad. It's evil. And if we don't acknowledge that, right, how are we going to acknowledge anything? Personally, me as a United States citizen from America, I'd rather try and hold my own government accountable for what they're doing and not wag my finger on the way another country is defending themselves, saying they could have defended themselves better. That just to me is a bunch of malarkey. To deny Russia's right to their national sovereignty and to defend themselves on the border is to deny the United States imperialist actions as being fraudulent and negative and evil and, provocative. I mean, you have to just, I don't want to say, you have to acknowledge what the United States is doing here. You know what I'm saying? And by doing that, you're going to recognize what's going on around them. So just want to kind of point it out, fam. I do have the video of Bennett talking about what's going on. So I'm going to play it really quickly. And then we'll show exactly, because this is funny, fam. This is the part of the cartoon, right? We talk about where Bennett says, yeah, I got the word that Putin wasn't going to whack him. I let Zelensky know. And as soon as I let Zelensky know, then he started jumping up and puffing his shoulders. It's like when a guy's about to have a fight and somebody comes in between them and they know there's not going to be a fight because people's in between them. Then the guy starts yelling all loud. You've seen this before, fam. That is what this is. That's what's going on with the situation. Here's Bennett.
הוא ירד מדנאציפיקציה, קרי מלחסל את זלנסקי.
מה, הוא ממש אמר לך במילים האלה?
אני על זה, בגלל שזה כל כך, זה הדבר הכי יקר, זה חיי מנהיג, וידעתי שזלנסקי תחת איום, הוא היה בבונקר שלא ידעו את מקומו, אני אומר לו,
Zelensky was in his bunker.
מה עם הסיפור?
He was in a secret bunker. I asked Putin, are you going to kill Zelensky?
והוא אמר, אני לא ארוג את זלנסקי.
He replied, I'm not going to kill Zelensky. Then I asked, I said, I must understand. You give me your word that you will not kill Zelensky. He said again, he will not kill Zelensky. After the meeting, in the car from the Kremlin at the airport, I contacted Zelensky via WhatsApp or Telegram. Weren't you afraid that the Russians would see? No, there were no problems. He was getting asked, weren't you afraid the Russians would see? No, there was no problem. I called Zelensky and I said, I came from the meeting. He's not going to kill you. He asked, are you sure? I replied, 100%. Putin said he won't do it. 2 hours later, Zelensky went into his office and filmed himself there on the phone with the words, I'm not afraid. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as he's saying this, he's laughing. He's laughing hysterically because he knows, but he's like, yeah, I told him he's okay. Nothing will happen to him. And all of a sudden, he comes out of his secret bunker, fam, huffing and puffing his chest. And I have a video. Would you like to see the video real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Huffing and puffing his chest. After that meeting, here comes Zelensky. Good news to everyone. Faction leader, head of the presidential office, prime minister. He's talking shit. Our troops are here. I am here. Our citizens are here. All of us are here protecting the independence of our country. And it will continue this way. Fam, glory to our soldiers. Slava Ukraine. Bullshit. There's Zelensky comes out. All of a sudden, when he gets the call from Bennett, I mean, Bennett was actually laughing here because
how could you not?
He comes out of his bunker, and all of a sudden now he's huffing.
He did a selfie video with his entourage, yo, what's up? I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid because I was just told I'm not going to be whacked.
Are you
They're
sure?
Not coming into Kyiv.
Oh, I'm not afraid. Oh, God, this guy.
Dude, when an Israeli prime minister says something like that, you probably got yourself a lot of, you think you got yourself a lot of protection. This is from antiwar.com. Our boys over there, Dave DeCamp. How you doing, brother? Former Israeli prime minister says U.S. blocked his attempt at a Ukraine-Russian peace deal, fam. So aside from the theatrics that came out of that whole meeting, with the whole Zelensky not getting whacked, this is something that's more important. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said in an interview posted to his YouTube channel on Saturday that the U.S. and its Western allies blocked his efforts of mediating between Russia and Ukraine to bring an end to the war in the early days. On March 4th, 2022, Bennett traveled to Russia to meet with Vladimir Putin. In the interview, he detailed his mediation at the time between Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Green Screen Zelensky, or Koki Smurf, which he said he coordinated with the U.S., France, Germany, and the UK. Bennett said that both sides agreed to major concessions during his mediation effort. For the Russian side, he said they dropped the denazification as a requirement for a ceasefire. Bennett defined denazification as the removal of Zelensky. During his meeting in Moscow with Putin, Bennett said the Russian leader guaranteed that he wouldn't try to kill Zelensky. The other concession Russia made, according to Bennett, is that they would seek the disarmament. They wouldn't, seek the disarmament of Ukraine. For the Ukrainian side, Zelensky announced that he would seek NATO membership, which Bennett said was the reason for the Russian invasion. I want to go down a little bit really quick. When asked if the Western powers blocked the mediation efforts, Bennett said, basically, yes, they blocked it, and I thought they were wrong. Fam, what do we need now, right now? What do the people need out there before they start removing that Ukrainian flag from their bio? From they start saying, this is like the COVID shit. Like, how many times do you need to be... How many times? Here is Bennett saying that the West blocked it. And this is not the first time we heard this before, fam. We've heard the same story time and time again. When the U.S. wants a war, they get it. How do you negotiate with somebody who wants a war when you're negotiating for peace, and at the end of the day, that's not their end game? Their objective is to have a war, fam. Go ahead.
Well, you can't. I mean, the American people, and I said this, and I'll talk about this more a little bit at the end, but the American people have to be the ones, fam, to really start going after the politicians the way the French go after politicians, the way people are protesting in mass in Belgium and France and parts of Europe, the way people are in Africa, in Burkina Faso, are getting the French out of their country and saying they're chanting an end to U.S. imperialism, an end to French imperialism. They're shouting this because they understand what it's like to be under this interventionism. In the United States, we don't understand what it's like to have a war at home. We've never been bombed. 9/11, we know about 9/11. Don't make me say it. Do you want me to say it? Don't make me say it.
Say it, fam.
9/11 was an inside job.
Damn. You know what I did the other day, fam? The other day, I didn't take down our YouTube streaming, the Dr. Corey, Jimmy Dore and thing. I streamed it all the way through. We took it down a couple hours after. So I figured I was going to get in trouble. I'm like, fam's going to kill me once they give us a strike. But they didn't, fam. So.
Oh, good. But you took it down.
We took it down 3 hours after. But they're so full of shit. It literally had 600 people watching on YouTube. And then 3 hours after, it only had 1.1 thousand views.
That's impossible.
It's like impossible. Like you had more of those views coming out of it.
Yeah, they were suppressing that one. But yeah, fam. I mean, I just don't. The United States is going to. They want this war no matter who or what opposes it. They need this war. They've said it. They said either Ukraine wins this war or NATO fails. They've said it. That's what this is about. This isn't about Ukraine. This isn't about saving the people of Ukraine. They've said that they're at war with Russia. They need Russia gone. And behind Russia, this hasn't been talked about. Behind Russia, there's China. And I think that's also what this is about too. It's not just about Russia, it's about China too. Because China is a global economic power. It is far more powerful. It's getting to be far more powerful than pretty much anybody in the world. India is also growing. You have Russia, and you have, of course, BRICS strengthening. And you have, by the way, I have to gloat about all the people that were going after Lula.
I knew you were going to go. I was just about to say it, fam. Like Lula saying we're not going to freaking arm the Ukrainians anymore. I mean, this is big. This is big. And he also talked about Assange.
Yeah.
And something that the last president didn't do. But please tell me how Bolsonaro is your little hero, fam. Just really quickly, and I got a question here for you. Okay, I'm going to put it down below. Naftali Bennett has no reason to lie. Putin invaded Ukraine to prevent it from joining NATO. And Biden rejected a peace deal that would have prevented Ukraine from joining NATO. This is what the war is really about. It's a war over NATO expansion. Now, fam, I know it's mainly about NATO, but it is also about the Nazis on the border of, the Donbass and bombing them, and maybe the biolabs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, your thoughts on that, because you went to the Donbass, you experienced that. And I can only imagine how symbolically it must just pierce a hole in the heart of Russians to see German troops, German tanks moving eastward through Ukraine. What are your thoughts on that? Is it mainly about NATO, or is it just equally about the other things?
NATO is the fascist at this point. I think it's the same thing, right? You're trying to stop NATO, and for a lot of us, NATO is a terrorist organization. How do you spell terrorist? NATO. I mean, that's what it's become. It's become a symbol of terrorism around the world. Wherever NATO goes, countries are collapse, leaders are couped or they're murdered. People enter years of decades-long devastation. Libya, Iraq, Syria, I could go on. And that's NATO. So is it about stopping Nazis? Yeah. But who are behind the Nazis? Who are funding the Nazis? NATO. So a lot of people, of course, need to understand that the United States has always backed Nazis. Even during the Second World War, they waited because they thought maybe Hitler would succeed. And they didn't want to be on the wrong side of that. I believe that's even in a Hollywood movie. I forget which movie it is. It's in one of the, God, I can't remember. Once I remember, I'll let you guys know which movie, but it actually happened. Huh?
What's the movie about?
World War II. And how these two friends came to be on opposite ends of the conflict.
Oh, yeah, that's All Quiet on the Western Front?
No, that's not. No, it's not that one. It's something else. But anyway, so the point is that, in my opinion, pasta, it's the same thing. They're the same. And since you brought that up, fam, I'm going to add this tweet that I put on the combo couch that I don't think we've shown.
What's that?
From Putin. Putin was recently, and I don't think we've talked about this. Putin was recently at the commemoration for the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Stalingrad. Stalingrad was the most decisive battle of World War II. And that's where the Red Army lost many, many of its people. And you're right, Pasta, because when you go to Donbass, you see a lot of flags from the Soviet Union. And you see a lot of memorabilia. People understand their history. They understand where they came from. They understand this. And it is insane to them to be seeing German tanks roll through Europe again. It is really, really crazy for a lot of people. And I'm just going to put it at the end of this section, fam. Right here. It's at the end, and you can play that video and see what Putin says, because that's exactly what is at stake here for Russians. This is what people who don't understand why many believed Russia was justified, this is precisely why they believe they were justified, because this is, again, an attack on them as a people. You mentioned the biolabs, too. I think that's also part of it. Who experimented on people and did all sorts of just nefarious, dark abuses on a lot of people? Those were the Nazis.
Yeah.
And so this is all part of that. I mean, this is not, people need to understand here, the United States has literally elevated Nazis, put them in positions of government, given them medals. This is nothing new.
Operation Paperclip, right, fam? Ricky Veranda says, come to America, start NASA. And it's like, they come over and they just take the Nazis that they wanted. They had the Nazi draft of sorts. And yeah, it is. Putin speaks at the commemoration for the 80th anniversary of the decisive Battle of Stalingrad. The ideology of Nazi, again, creates direct threats to the scrutiny of our country. We are, again, threatened by German Leopard tanks. Fam, should we play the video?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to translate? I can translate it if you need to, fam. Would you like me to do that?
If you want to. My internet, is it playing fine? My
I'm going to
internet's
play it
fine.
right now. Here we go.
Уважаемые
Dear
ветераны,
veteran
друзья,
friends,
сегодня мы
today
отмечаем
we
одну
celebrate
из
one of the most
важнейших
important, fateful dates in the
судьбоносных
history
дат
of our country
в
and the
истории нашей
whole
страны
world.
и всего мира. Ровно 80 лет назад
Exactly 80 years ago
на
today in Stalingrad
Сталинградской
lands on the
земле
banks of the Russian River
на
Volga,
берегах
the
великой русской реки
hated,
Волга
cruel enemy was stopped
был
and
остановлен
I
и
can't see it,
безвозвратно обращен вспять
turned away.
ненавистный, жестокий враг. Завершилась
The long,
долгая,
difficult,
многотрудная,
fierce battle of Stalingrad ended.
битва за Сталинград. Это
The battle was
сражение
not just a battle,
было не просто
with the city.
сражением за город. На кону стояло
The very
само
existence of the
существование
tormented but
истерзанной,
unconquered country
но непокоренной
was at
страны.
stake.
Определялся исход
The outcome of
не
not only
только
the Great
Великой
Patriotic War,
Отечественной,
but the
но и
entire
всей
Second
Второй
World War
мировой войны.
was determined.
И это
And
чувство
everyone felt it,
осознавал
realized
каждый,
it, both in the
и в
trenches
окопах, и в тылу.
and in the rear.
Мы, как это
We,
уже не раз бывало в
as-
нашей истории,
As has happened
сплотились
more than once
в
in our
решающей
history,
схватке.
rallied in
И
a decisive
победили.
battle
Идеология
and won.
нацизма уже в своем современном
The ideology of
современном
Nazism in its
проявлении
modern form
вновь
again
создает
creates a
прямые
direct threat
угрозы
to the
безопасности
security
нашей
of
страны.
our country.
Мы вновь
And
и
again
вновь
and again, we are
делать
forced
отпор
to
агрессии
repulse the aggression
коллективного
of the
Запада.
collective West.
Невероятно,
Unbelievable, but a
невероятно, но
fact. We are
факт.
again threatened by German
Нам
Leopard tanks,
снова
which have
угрожают
blood
немецкие
on their
танки
hands.
«Леопард», на борту
Big
которых
deep breath.
кресты.
And
И
again,
вновь собираются воевать
they are
с
going
Россией
to
на земле
fight
Украины
with Russia
руками
on the land of
последующих
Ukraine
Гитлера,
by the hand of
собственных
Hitler's
бандитов.
followers, by the
Мы
hands
знаем,
of the
что
Banderites.
несмотря
We
на
know that despite the
усилия
efforts of the official
официальной,
corrupt and
продажной
the
по
essence
своей сути
propaganda of Western elites unfriendly
пропаганды
to us, we
недружественных
have many
нам
friends, though.
западных элит, у нас много друзей, причем во всем
And all
мире,
over the
в
world,
том числе и
including
на
on the
американском
American
континенте.
continent,
В
in
Северной
North
Америке,
America
в
and
Европе.
in Europe. Fam's been gone the whole time I've been reading that, huh? Hopefully she'll come back in. But wow. Holy cow. And so, I mean, you guys can just, get a feeling, get a sense of what's going on, but how messed up it is, right? About the fact that there's Leopard tanks on the ground from Germany moving to fight Russians in Ukraine again. That's why I say it's just more than about, NATO. The fact that it's Nazis and the fact that it's German tanks again, it's got to symbolically just create horror. I mean, and this is what we're propagating. This is what we're causing. This is at our hands. This is at the West. So I'm sorry. Don't tell me and wag your finger at friggin' Russia for doing what they're doing when it's on their border and in the manner it's being done. I'm sorry. And just like I've said this before, if I had two children and Russia was one and America was one, for this conflict and for many other conflicts, I'd send the America to its room without dinner and have a little talking about Russia, about how they react, because that's what it's about, right? It's the major aggressor here. There's action and there's reaction. And even Bartlett, who we've played her videos today, has said this before. You know who else didn't want war? The people of Donbass for 8 years. As they were crying to Russians inside of Russia, a lot of them were very upset with Putin and felt he dragged his feet. We've talked about it on the show. Yanukovych fleeing after the coup in the West from Victoria Nuland, handing out cookies on the Maidan with Jeffrey Pyatt, changing the government, putting it into the hands of where we knew and we would see the Banderites be armed to kill ethnic Russians in the Donbass. Yanukovych, then the president, fleeing, told Putin almost immediately, you're going to have to intervene. You're going to have to get involved, because if you do not, these people will be slaughtered. War is a racket. How many billions of dollars have we sent off right now, right? Is this any different than what we did in Vietnam when companies just made money hand over the fist? I believe, was it Bell Helicopters, the Huey? Billions get the check. propagated a war. We don't need to stop the flow of communism because if the Vietnamese and the communists get in, it's going to spread like wildfire. So we send our boys to kill Vietnamese while the corporations make a shit ton of money. Was it any different in Iraq? Was it any different in Iraq? When Dick Cheney, no conflict of interest here, had Halliburton. Well, I gave it to my family members and I'm not running anymore. Yeah, but you made money hand over fist on the blood of people, on the blood of your troops, the Americans that's still 22 plus. I heard those numbers are even higher of now killing themselves because they have PTSD from going and fighting these wars in the Middle East that came out of the whole 9/11. Fiorella said it's an inside job thing, right? How much did Halliburton make? And now Ukraine, same thing. Do you know that House Republicans, the Senate, it's not House Republicans, excuse me, the Senate Republican pact, right, made more than the Democrat Senate PAC? Literally, they got more money, from FTX than the Democrats did. Let me correct myself and say that. The Republicans in the Senate got more money from FTX than the Democrats did. The Senate PAC. Now, there's individuals in the Senate who made more money than individuals, but we have those numbers. We saw them. They're all in it together. They might go WWE style and fake a couple fights here and there, but when it comes to war, they're united. And none of the squad members, none of your progressives are standing up to fight it, even as they still get cornered. And Jamal Bauman with his bullshit. Let me speak first. Anyways, Jilly Love, we love you. Thank you for holding it down. Hopefully, Fee will be back soon. I don't know what's up with her internet. So, guys, do us a favor. You can go over to Rockfin if you're a premium member over there. Kind of hang on out. That's awesome if you are. I'm going to thank some people in the chat over there. We got Game.Phil. Love you, fam. Love y'all, fam, too. We love you, Game.Film. It's great seeing you. If you are hanging on the, we got a Rumble rant. Let me get this up here. What's up, Applejack? Okay, let me see if I can say this right. Newsarcher Zeitnug says Joe Biden then commissioned CIA chief William Burns in mid-January to explore the willingness to negotiate in Kiev and Moscow. The offer to Kiev was peace against land. Wow. Thank you, Applejack. That's awesome. And I think that's the only one. It came up. Okay, here. Also, that same outlet, I guess, reports Biden offered Putin 20% of Ukraine last month to end the war so U.S. could pivot to China. Any idea if the U.S. will force peace? This is true, too, as well. I saw this. That was an antiwar.com, too, as well, that Biden offered Putin 20%. I think that he wanted to look like the hero and say, look what I did. I ended the war. I brought Putin to the table. I mean, they'll say anything. You remember, I mean, this whole freaking COVID situation, you remember Biden? We beat Big Pharma. We beat Big Pharma. Fam. I'm going to do my opinion, my impression of Joe Biden. Ready? We beat Big Pharma. We beat Big Pharma. And, we were somebody was alluding to Applejack. Thank you so much. Doing the Rumble rant. We love you, brother. And thank you to Game.Film and the Rockfin, leaving a few bucks, leaving a few coin. Thank you as well. Talking about Biden offering Putin 20% of the land to end the war now. Yeah. Right? That's the whole thing. And a lot of people feel that it's to pivot towards China. To pivot towards China. So, a war with China. So that's interesting. That's going on. And that's the conversation that's taking place as well, fam. So, yes.
Which is funny because Russia's never going to turn against China, nor China against Russia. They've literally outlined that recently. Lavrov said, our relationship with China is strong and it's only going to get better. It's just not going to happen.
And a lot of these neo-hawks, these neocons, they should be upset because it wasn't always like that. China and, Russia and China had a history of bad blood, right? Issues before, wars of the past. And now they're like, yeah, we're cool. We're going to stick together. We understand that this is the issue we need to take care of. It's the American Western Empire before we do anything else. Guys, thank you. Fiorella is back. You guys can all jump back in now. They were waiting. They were holding down like, we ain't doing nothing until Fee comes back. So now they're back, Fee, and we can get back to the second part. Are you ready? I got some good stuff in here, fam. Let's start with this article that you put up in there, right, fam?
Yeah.
It's just we got a bunch of clowns. This is the clown show. I mean, really, to tell you the truth, they just showed their whole ass this weekend, fam. F-22 safely shoots down Chinese spy balloon off the coast of Carolina. Go ahead, fam, please, because I can't. Did you see the pictures of people going like on the ground applauding this shit? I mean, I can't.
So the U.S. media and the U.S. State Department and Defense Department insist that this was a spy balloon, even though China has said it was a weather balloon, and they didn't mean for it to go into this territory. So a U.S. Air Force fighter safely shot down the Chinese high altitude, what they call surveillance balloon, and Lloyd Austin put this out in a written statement. They're very proud of this, by the way. Can you imagine if China shot down like something like a balloon from the United States or something like that, or if Russia did it? You know what the entire United States would be doing would be calling for war with Russia, because their excuse is to call for war with one of these two nations, depending on what day it is and depending on which side of the aisle they're on, because that's literally what would happen. Oh no, how dare they? How dare they take down one of our balloons? Like it's insane that the United States can do this, and everybody, like Russia and China, are both very restrained. I don't think people realize how restrained these two have been. Pelosi visited Taiwan. Pelosi visited Taiwan when China said don't do that. Then they had a whole delegation visit Taiwan. They have military drills. They're literally arming Taiwan. And China has said, you're disrespecting us. You're not you're only abiding by the China One policy in name. You're not abiding by it in reality. And still the United States pushes and pushes and pushes. So China has responded by saying, hey, you are escalating tensions. This is ridiculous. You need to remain calm, remain respectful. And of course, we don't know how to do that. So that's the ridiculousness of what we're doing here. And to see all the media, all the war hawks, which you're going to show right now, calling for war with China, it's just crazy. Seeing it from here, it's just like, isn't it enough? You're trying to start a whole nuclear war with Russia. It's not enough now. You just got to go after China as well. But I think, Pasta, this is all part of the plan to really weaken the East and what they see as the counter movement to their goal, which is, of course, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, being able to unite everybody under this one global say government. It's more of a totalitarian state, to be able to control people, to be able to have a full-on surveillance world, not just a state, but an entire world. So they want everybody to be homogenous and the same. And sovereign states that don't believe in that, like Russia, stand against that. And a lot of people think, no, Russia's a part of it. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. And they have spoken out recently against the digital IDs. So there's that.
So let's examine and have some fun, because this could be old news if we want to, but I'm not letting them off the hook. I want to let these fucking conservatives know, this populist right, this America First crowd, that you guys showed your whole ass on this one. You embarrassed yourself by going crazy over a weather balloon. And then you jumped to conclusions before you heard the details. Weather balloons have been going up for like 50, 60 years now, right now. Okay, so here it is. If the U.S. knows that this Chinese spy balloon is collecting information from our sensitive ICBM sites and transmitting it back to China, and we did not shoot it down, That would be the dumbest in a series of dumb decisions from the Secretary of Defense and Joe Biden that we have not seen to date. First of all, Matt Gaetz, you're talking like you're Rachel Maddow. If the Russians did this, and if that happened, and if the administration didn't do it, well, if butts, candy, and nuts, if my aunt had balls, she would be my uncle. It was a weather balloon, you friggin' goon. Oh my God, Matt Gaetz. This is the shit that makes you just, I'd love to have Matt Gaetz on the show one day. I really would, because, the dude could do some stuff over here, can speak out here and there. He did speak out against the fact that we're spending all this money to Ukraine. But we've said this before, and this is something we had a big hunch on. We've kind of seen the behavior. They would be happy. They would be okay, fam, if they took the money out of Kiev and they moved it to Beijing. They would be happy with that. That is not anti-war. That is bullshit. It's that you just don't like the enemy that this particular administration has chosen. You have a different enemy. It's just like censorship. It's not, you're not mad at the fact that they're censoring. You're mad at who's being censored. And we'll just pay a little bit of here, 2 China hawks. Fam, this is the China scratch fever people over here.
What happens when 2 China hawks walk into a bar?
What? You got a joke? I don't know. Think of a punchline, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to play a little bit of Matty Gaetz shitting his pants over a weather balloon.
This is obviously a result or direct, I think, reaction to the basing decision in the Philippines, which is very important. You have to also think that China may be trying to bait the United States into disputes over appropriate rights in the air, because we would say, look, we shoot this thing down, it was over our airspace. Then does that give some sort of pretext for China to take some action?
Geosynchronized satellites we have maybe over that part of the world?
Well, not just that, but there are sorties that are being flown, very frequently by our allies, by our service members in the.
First off, I want to stop and say that doesn't Steve Bannon, the older he gets, he looks more like the guy in the Operation game. The guy when he's laying there and you got to pick the things out. Or do you know what the game Operation fan?
Oh yeah.
Steve Bannon looks like that without the red nose. Like his face is all messed up. That's what Steve Bannon looks like. Secondly, I mean, he's going like, if in fact, fam, it was a weather balloon. A friggin' weather balloon that flew over Canada and entered into the. How come nobody's talking about the fact that we have so many nuclear weapons as they're going over all the ICBM freaking fields or whatever they're talking about? How come there's nobody really talking about this shit? I mean, go ahead, fam.
It was a weather balloon, but it was inflamed by the media as being more than that. And I'm going to show you what the New York Times wrote, because they wrote that it was a spy, a surveillance tool. They literally lie. They lie all the time. And then I get called a propagandist. Literally, they lie all the freaking time. And so they use the media to just inflame everybody, both the liberals and the conservatives. And everybody's like, oh. And then you try to make Joe Biden, who's one of the biggest warmongers out there, you try to make him look like he's not hawkish enough on China. Guys, come on. This isn't a competition as to who's the first to push the red button here. But apparently, that's where they're at.
Yeah. Let's play a little bit more of Matty Gaetz having a Chinese crazy war dreams. Yeah, I don't want to say anything bad.
South China Sea over areas that China is claiming their jurisdiction. And so if you create this sort of jurisdictional pretext, you could see things escalate there very quickly.
You're saying, is what you're saying that this is more political information warfare, that part of unrestricted warfare they do, versus actually the national security?
If we knew that this balloon was getting information from our sensitive ICBM sites and transmitting it back to China, and we did not shoot it down, that would be the dumbest in a series of dumb decisions from the Secretary of Defense and from this president that we have possibly seen. There is also a possibility that this balloon has very little value militarily to China, and it is there as a signal. And maybe they're hoping that we go capture it And then, you know what? They would be able to observe what our capture technology is, something that would be very helpful to them as they were making a move on Taiwan or planning to make a move on Taiwan, right? What if they're trying to see in this type of a circumstance what type of munitions we would use? Would we go surface to air? Would we go air to air?
I mean, you should be embarrassed. This is a weather balloon. Oh, Eddie, what if they saw our capture technologies? What are they going to see this? They're firing on this. I mean, fam, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean,
I can't take him seriously because he doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. The China trying something on Taiwan. Taiwan is China. The United States, don't take it from me. The United States says they recognize the one China policy, right? And that one China policy includes Taiwan being a part of China. So what exactly would China have to do in Taiwan other than just continue ensuring that the United States respects what they say on paper as a policy that they respect? And again, I have to say this for the people that are extremely anti-China that may be watching or in the chat. I don't really care if you're anti-China. That's irrelevant to me. You don't have to like them. You don't have to like the CCP. You don't have to like Xi Jinping. But to really pretend this balloon was anything other than a weather balloon and to instigate war with another nuclear power where we're waging a proxy war with another nuclear power, and there's a potential for a third one via Israel with Iran. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's irresponsible. Nobody's asking you to become the best friend to Xi Jinping or to become a communist, but you don't have to worry about what China does in China because China has zero interest in the United States in terms of really right now in this moment needing to be. They don't have to do that. I mean, I've talked to so many analysts that aren't even necessarily super pro-China. China has no reason to do this right now. They're busy doing their thing with everybody in the East, with BRICS. Why would they Americans think like the world revolves around them. This is the problem. Like they still are acting like this unilateral perspective is a thing, and it's not. Like, you're not the most popular girl in school anymore.
well,
Sally?
This person to look at news, using an F-22 to take down a balloon is like using a scud to pop a pimple, but that's not how Jack Posobiec feels. Sorry. Commentator who's calling to launch bombers over a spy balloon, and that's in quotes. This is the Mises Caucus, fam, the libertarian. This is the reason why I found my place, and I say, let's talk to these libertarian. Accuses those pointing out he and others are succumbing to war fever of not acting seriously. And check this out, fam. Look what this dude puts down. You shoot down the balloon and launch bombers from Guam. That's when you do when the homeland is threatened. Let that soak in. By the way, I was blocked by Jack Posobiec. So was my friend Reed Coverdale. So was I believe either one of the New Hampshire libertarian, because the New Hampshire libertarian Twitter went after him. The Mises Caucus Twitter went after him. The National Party went after him. So many people were going after this idiot, right? Like, I think Reed said it best. You want a war with China, Jack Posobiec? Grab a gun, get on a plane, and go fight yourself. But leave us real Americans out of this. We don't want a war with fucking China over a goddamn weather balloon.
I'm sorry, I cannot take this shit seriously. Somebody's got to be paying him. You don't say things like that. It just doesn't make logical sense here. Like,
no.
he was. But by the way, I had to remind people because some people don't know about him in Russia and or here outside of the U.S. And I had to be like, they're like, yeah, like he said some good points about globalists. I'm like, just again, I keep saying this, guys. You can't just trust people because they say these key words and act like they know what they're talking about. He's not really against globalists if he wants war with China. He's not really against globalists if he wanted war with Russia when he thought Poland was hit by a Russian missile. It turns out that wasn't the case. He was calling for war there too.
It must pay with blood.
They must pay with blood. So it's not easy when you don't have principles, when you don't have integrity, when you're really not against war, when you're just against whatever point of view is the one that makes you most money. And that's the difference between actual anti-imperialists and people who will go where it's the grift. And so it is grifty. It's more convenient to be against China if you're on the right, because that's like the audience, right? That's Steve Bannon's War Room audience. That's a lot of the audience. That's what they get people.
Yeah, but
Fear
fam, I
mongering
don't
them
even
about
think
China.
I don't even think that it's just a grift. I think it's that it's like people don't understand. And the reason why I got blocked by Jack is because I kept on saying, Jack, you get your money from Miles Guo. That's who funds Steve Bannon. Miles Guo
Right.
is an ex-Chinese descendant, right? Who was thrown out of the country. Xi Jinping and his corruption crusade went after him. He went over here and he started funding freaking Bannon, and Bannon, funds, obviously, Posobiec works for Bannon. They're getting funded by an ex-Chinese oligarch who is fucking pissed off at the government. How can you not say that this dude isn't fucking compromised when you're getting paid by an ex-freaking guy who was thrown out of the Chinese government, who was thrown out of the country? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm saying, is there no conflict of interest, Jack? Miles Guo told you to say that? Miles Guo is paying you? Of course he blocked me. I do, fam. I don't know, because since I was blocked, I couldn't play the video. I can only show the picture, but I think this is him saying that you blow it out of the sky. Let's take a quick look. I'm going to play this video. And
no, it's also interesting because, of course, China has spy satellites the same way that we have spy satellites. So we have to look at why are they using a balloon to do this?
Chinese spy balloon the size of 3 buses is spotted floating over Montana for days as U.S. mobilizes F-22 Raptors to intercept. Look at this thing. It's got solar panels. That's like solar panels, right? Look at that.
Folks, do you know how ridiculous that is? Chinese spy balloon. Oh!
it's not the video I wanted. He says in another video, and I don't want to go through that one because that one's a little stupid. But, once again, and then they go into this whole thing, the way they're kind of shitting their pants. Oh, my God, Chinese spy balloon. Look how Biden is bought. Jack Posobiec goes, every single second that balloon is up there and it's not shot down, it's a reminder about how bought and owned Biden is and we are by the Chinese Communist Party. Literally, he says that for every second, the spy balloon, which it's a weather balloon, right? And then Tim Pool freaking agrees. He goes, "Oh, it was just a trial run." I'm like, "Are you guys freaking retarded right now? You guys
make money off of that, Pasta.
Oh, I know.
This is how they make their money. This is how they make their money. So they got to do what's going to bring them money, and that's
They are. I don't even know if they're freaking Fed paid, but they are there for one reason: to drum and beat the drums of war when it comes to China, fam. When it comes to China. And just so we make sure that we include everybody in this thing right here. Look at this. This is from the Senate Republicans. The Senate Republicans, ladies and gentlemen. The Chinese Communist Party must not mistake Joe Biden's weakness with the resolve of the American people. We will not stand for this.
We will not stand for this balloon.
This balloon.
This balloon.
We will not stand for this. I mean, that is the Senate Republicans, fam. Okay, so here's the Washington Examiner, right? The outlet that just went after Scott Ritter. And if you look back at the Washington Examiner, they immediately around Desert Storm stuff, when Scott was the only one out there going to the friggin' Iraqi parliament trying to get them to prevent the war. They were saying that Ritter was making deals with friggin' Israel because he'd said some nice things about them. This is the Washington Examiner. Dry run, fam. Balloons called top delivery platform for nuclear EMP attack. Let that set in. Top delivery platform for nuclear EMP attacks. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you?
I feel like somebody
fear mongering.
Playing a gigantic joke. I mean, this can't be serious. I mean, we do live in the most stupid timeline of all time. I think it really, really is. Whoever is orchestrating and writing this universe, really, I just have to tell you, you did it again. You made it more ridiculous than it's already
about the fucking marmot.
Sorry, fam. The marmot. That's what happened. The
Yeah.
marmot got in the thing and screwed it up because this is just ridiculous at this point now. Ridiculous.
I don't think it was a marmot. I think somebody is playing a sick joke. It's ridiculous that we're discussing potential nuclear war and nuking China over a fucking weather balloon.
Over a weather balloon. Over a
Oh my
weather
God.
balloon. Okay. Jesus Christ. Let me go.
Yeah, I'm not high enough for this either, Peter. I'm really not.
Oh my God. I want to smoke more marijuana because
I wish.
All right, fam. Lauren Ingram.
Oh, my favorite.
Fox News. The Chinese surveillance floater over Montana is a literal trial balloon, and China is laughing at us. No, Lauren, they're laughing at you for this ridiculous. It's a it's a trial balloon. This is not a drone. They don't have a remote control on it, guys. This is a weather balloon. It goes where the weather takes you. Okay. We got to get on Dummy's face because this is just the thing. This is when you talk about when you friggin' lead out too quickly, fam, and you didn't do your homework enough. So here's Marco Rubio finding out, I think, on an interview that I'm gonna break it to you guys. The weather balloon has been here once before. A Chinese weather balloon has been in our airspace once before during the Biden administration. And weather balloons were in American airspace 3 times when Donald Trump was the president. Now, since then, we've had people come out, that's a lie, this is a lie. Guys, weather balloons have been going up and been floating for years. For years, they go in different airspaces. You know why? Because they're not controlled by a remote control. They are moved by the weather. So wherever the weather takes them, that's where they end up. Here's Rubio getting his ass handed to him on the news.
What we're dealing with. This is what I'm going to do about it, and this is why I haven't done it yet. None of that happened, and I don't know why. And in fact, I don't know why they waited so long to tell people about this. And if they knew the trajectory that it was on, it seems from late last week.
Right, and we're also told, by the way, that this happened 3 times under the previous president. Obviously, there were no public notifications there. Senator Rubio, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. What we're dealing with. This is what I'm going to do.
Where were the calls for war
this
then?
Is why I haven't done it yet. Thank you.
Where were the calls for war then? I thought Trump was like,
look at his
the
face.
anti-China guy.
He's just yeah, dude. He didn't know. He goes, we were told it happened 3 times. And so many people, if Trump was the president, fam, that balloon would have got blown out of the sky a long time ago. If Trump was the president, forget about it. This never happened. We are owned by the Chinese. Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, don't jump to conclusions. Antiwar.com. Thank you, David DeCamp. Pentagon says Chinese balloons have traveled over the U.S. before. The Pentagon says similar balloons transited the U.S. during the Trump administration, but Trump says it didn't happen. When the Pentagon first announced a Chinese balloon was transiting U.S. airspace, the officials said that similar instances have happened in the past, including at times before in the Biden administration. On Saturday, a senior Pentagon official briefing reporters was more specific, saying it happened 3 times under Trump, the Trump administration, and at least once under Biden. So for all those people going, oh my God, this would have never happened, fam. This would have never happened if Donald Trump was the president. No, guys, it happened 3 times. 3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So now that numbnuts Rubio has had his cake or his whatever, he was fed his lunch,
His Gusano lunch.
His Gusano lunch. This idiot. This is the guy who wants to go to war with everybody in Latin America, right? Because they're socialists. This is the guy who was working the phones during the Bolivian coup. Now that he's got information that it's happened before under the Trump administration, listen to the answers that he gives. Now, fam, this is really going to blow your mind. It wasn't the fact that it was a weather balloon. Oh, we know that weather balloons have been, Chinese weather balloons have been in our airspace before. This is unprecedented because of the route it took, because how it came and where it went. Marco, it goes with the weather. It goes.
Pasta, it went in the form of a hammer and sickle. You need to understand this.
Right? It travels
drawing
like
a hammer and a sickle in the clouds, just so you know.
Let's check out Marco Rubio, her family, then you got to get your opinions on this one. Here we go.
But so you think that, first of all, I guess there are two parts to a question I have following up on that. One is, the Pentagon says that they know of the Chinese doing this at least 4 other times previously, once at the beginning of the Biden administration, 3 times during the Trump administration. It seems to be you're saying no, that's not true. But in any case,
no, I know what
difference?
I'm saying. Okay, well, the difference is this. Are we aware? Have we seen the Chinese fly these balloons in the past? Yes, I think there's even Twitter pictures of it flying at one point off the coast of the U.S. Down south somewhere. The existence of the balloons is not a mystery to people in that field. What we've never seen, what is unprecedented, and whoever the source was at the Department of Defense would have to acknowledge this, what is unprecedented is a balloon flight that entered over Idaho and flew over Montana, over all these sensitive military installations, Air Force bases, ICBM fields, right across the middle of the country. That has never happened before. That is unprecedented. That it flew briefly over some part of the U.S. or continental U.S., that's one thing. But what we saw this week, it's unprecedented. And that's why everyone's reacting the way they're reacting. We've never seen this. So this is no comparison to anything that may have happened up to this point.
It's just not convenient.
What's unprecedented is the route it took. I mean, how dare the wind blow that way? I mean, Jesus Christ. I thought we were controlling the wind here. What's going on with our geoengineering programs? But it's unprecedented. I mean, fam, please.
So William Wallace said, we always go out of our way to defend China. I'm going out of my way to literally not start another war when the United States is already at war with Russia via Ukraine. I mean, I think it's safe to say, how is not wanting war with China defending China? I don't understand this logic where people have turned this like an automatic situation where we're criticizing war hawks and neocons that want war with China because they don't like its government, because they have this anti-communist sentiment for whatever reason it is. It doesn't concern anybody in the United States what China does. If the people of China want to get rid of their government, they would have done it a long time ago. They really could. There's so many of them. Like, that's not my concern about China's government. This is literally about not wanting to escalate already tense tensions with a nuclear power. That's not defending China. I can defend China on my own if I want to. This is strictly talking about the fact that this is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time. Trying to start a war with another country and shooting down a fucking balloon because you think it's a surveillance tool? Come on, dude.
It's a Chinese spy balloon, fam, and it needs to come down. And I mean, just seeing people applaud it like they thought it was like the greatest thing. And I mean, this is crazy. I mean, here it is. U.S. delays top diplomat's China trip over the balloon.
Yeah, so Blinken, if you scroll a little further, Blinken was supposed to go to China. He was scheduled to travel to Beijing. He's not going to because of the balloon. So they postponed this trip. And they said it was best not to proceed with the trip at this time. And this was made hours before Blinken boarded the plane. And again, this visit was arranged by Biden during the G20 summit in November. And I just have to tell you, this goes to show you that both Democrats and Republicans are on the same page here. Did they have to cancel this trip to go see, for Blinken to go meet and go to Beijing? No, they didn't have to do that. But they did it because they are doing the same line. We've never heard about anything like this, Rubio said, because the media and the State Department wanted people to hear about it right now. They wanted it to happen. This is how people get propagandized. Nobody heard about Ukraine or cared about Ukraine until 2022 of last year, when suddenly everybody started putting Ukraine flags and blue and yellow colors all over their profiles because they were told to, because they were programmed to. They were propagandized to by their government. That's why. You want to talk about China being a communist totalitarian state? How easy is it to get Americans to cheer for war if it's their team doing it?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, totally, fam. Totes. Fam, you got this over here too as well. Let's put this one up. Russia State TV cheers Chinese spy balloon for turning U.S. upside down. So they're trying to blame friggin' Russia TV, fam. You guys over there, are you guys instigating problems over there? Are you laughing in the face of Americans that saw this as a threat? Fam,
I am, but I'm not a Russian, and I'm laughing in the face of Americans.
I think they're directly talking about you, fam, because you're the one. This is Andrew Stanton saying that fam is cheering on, the U.S. getting turned upside down. Fam, how dare you laugh at these people? Russian state TV host Margarita Simonyan, do you know her? Cheered the suspected Chinese spy balloon that floated across the United States this week for turning the country upside down during a recent broadcast. Is that her right there, fam?
Yeah, that's
Can
RT
we play this?
editor-in-chief.
Would she clown them?
She would clown
Hold
them.
on.
I clown them.
I'm going to play this. This is great. Hold on. I'm going to mute me up and play this. This is great.
Head of RT.
Thank you, fam. This is it.
И если вы откроете сегодня CNN, у них, конечно, международный CNN, все про это, еще немножко про австралийскую девушку, которую покусала акула, еще немножко про каких-то северокорейских подростков, и вот про шарик, надо было сбивать, не надо было раньше, надо было позже, а еще где-то там третий, кто-то там его засек, Венесуэла, то ли Гватемала, засекли еще третий, летит, китайцы умудрились поставить на уши всю страну, и одна
I'm sorry.
I was muted the whole time, but she was saying, there's a little bit about the shark attack, a little bit about this over here, but the whole coverage is about the goddamn balloon. Like they're talking about the balloon. Pasta and Fee want Chinese weather balloons to take out America. Don't you guys know how dangerous Chinese Weather Channel is? Thank you, Applejack.
Hey, Applejack, it's not as dangerous as the Spanish weather girls that wear super tight dresses and distract the entire news. I tell the people at RT that I'm like, you guys dress like nuns here compared to like the Latin American news anchors who wear this stuff. The weather girls, they're dangerous. Okay,
They are.
The Latin American weather girls.
Fam, they're awful. You got to keep your eyes on them. Look what freaking Jilly Love says. It's a balloon. Kill it. We love you, Jilly.
Actually, I met a person before who was clinically deathly afraid of balloons. It's a phobia.
No, fam.
I'm not joking. I
Come
swear
on,
to God.
man.
I'm not joking.
It's a real phobia? Is it you got fear of clowns like Pennywise is holding the balloon?
I don't like clowns, but I don't have the phobia. But it's the balloon. It's a thing, and like they would literally cry like if they saw a balloon. Maybe the United States has this collectively.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Here's the Chinese spy balloon drifted for 7 days across the U.S. A timeline.
So I want you, fam, can you scroll up and look at the title of this article?
Yeah, right there. Chinese spy balloon drifted for 7 days across the U.S. Fam. A timeline. They're gonna
China spy balloon So there's no questioning. It's
No.
absolutely a spy balloon, right? There's
Yes.
no.
Yes, fam. This
You-
is
you-
the New York Times.
You want to know something? When we were covering this on RT, I had to make sure that we differentiated between what the US was calling the balloon and what China was calling the balloon, because somebody had messed up and put a Chinese spy balloon. And I was like, wait a minute, we can't. No. The only people calling this a spy balloon are the Americans. And they're like, oh shit, yeah. Good
Yeah.
call. Because nobody else is calling this a spy balloon. It's a weather balloon. Like, so it's only certain people calling this a spy balloon. And that's the reality here. That's why she's laughing. That's why Margarito's laughing, because it's a joke. You're talking about, she mentioned the Korean teenagers. She mentioned the girl that got bitten by a shark in Australia, and then everything else is the Chinese balloon. And so, but we're propagandists. We get labeled, we get this, we get that.
Mm-hmm. And fam, I know some people are putting up some stuff saying that, yeah, the Pentagon has used balloons and other things to surveil, have drones come out of it and everything like that. I get it. And that's why you're a little bit panicked too, as well, because that's the shit you do yourself. But there was no evidence that this was a freaking spy balloon. There was none. There was none.
Fair.
So I'm sorry. It's just, I don't want to hear it. Like, yeah, I get that, we have done shit nefariously before in the past, but you have no proof. None. None.
I love this song. It cracks me up. I learned it in German.
What's the name of the
99 red
song?
balloons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah, of course. We'll play it. We'll play it a little bit at the end. We'll play 99 red balloons, right? 99, and that song is about the Berlin Wall coming down, I believe.
Yeah.
Like an anti-protest against nuclear weapons, I think. I'm not sure exactly. If anybody knows in the chat, please educate me on that. I believe that's the name of the song. Was it not Nina? Who sings it?
Wasn't it Nina the name? Here,
Is
let
it
me
Nina?
look up her number.
We'll play that.
It's an 80s song, right?
Of course it's an 80s song, fam. You know it is. They did it in German too. China responds.
Yeah,
to
Nena.
thank
That's her
you.
name. Nena.
So China responds to balloon claims. Beijing has warned against speculation and efforts to hype up the story.
So this is China's response. China says China is a responsible nation and doesn't violate the airspace of other countries, because this is what the U.S. is claiming. The Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning has said, following speculation that a spy balloon was spotted over the U.S. had been launched by Beijing. The Chinese authorities are aware of reports of a surveillance balloon being discovered over American territory and are currently working to verify them, Mao stated during a briefing on Friday. Speculation and hype are not conducive until the facts are clear. So she said China is a responsible country. Scroll down a little. We act in accordance with. You scroll down.
Sorry, fair, my bad.
She said China is a responsible country. We act in accordance with international law. We have no intention of violating other countries' airspace. And yes, we already went over this, but again, like the Pentagon, the media, they said that this is a spy balloon, and they haven't stopped talking about it for like a whole week. Guys, this is like, I'm done. I don't want to. We've done, I don't know how many packages and how many things on this balloon, because the United States keeps talking about it, insisting it's a spy balloon. We're just sick of it as journalists. We're just done with it. Like, stop. Enough.
Ma'am, 99 balloons has probably been played like 1 million times this weekend, I bet, right? You know what I'm saying? I bet you it's like 1 million times. At least you've heard that song.
1983, yes. Okay. You want to know? Just so you guys know, it was a protest song. Fam, we're going to get a copyright. Cold War protest song. Mhm.
Ugh.
Bam. We're gonna get
Making sure the
copyright.
machine don't catch us.
Anyway.
Bam. 99
Yeah,
red
listen to that
balloons.
song.
How many times did that thing get played over the weekend? Forget about it. Fam, we have some Rumble rants from Applejack. Thank you so much. Shameless plug. Join us from the Fearlessly Authentic team on February 20th to assist the poor in Canton, Ohio, and our polar bear jump to feed the hungry on February 25th in Akron. No donations wanted, but if you want to go help out, go over to our Rumble, hit up Applejack, ask what they can do. You can do to help on my friend Applejack over there. I think it's awesome what they're doing. That's the day after the protest, after the rally. So that's amazing. Pasta, are you saying you want Chinese weather balloons to take over America? Yes, Applejack. That's what I want. I want an invasion of fucking balloons. Please. Excuse
It's
me.
a party.
Miguel put all freaking, look at you, put all red balloons in the thing. Thank you, Miguel.
And they're red because of the CCP.
Yeah. There's the remix of 99 Balloons, fam. There's the German one where they do the German song, right?
99 na Schlussballon.
That say it again.
I said yes in Russian, but I was saying the song in German. Sorry, my brain is warped.
That's enough. Okay. Fam. Crazy stuff. I mean, it was just nuts weekends that we had to deal with that. You know, I mean, just like collectively, I thought they just showed their whole ass there, and it just was kind of embarrassing at this point right now. You know, just embarrassing. Like, you really want to go to war over a freaking weather balloon? Over a weather balloon? We don't know that. Yeah. Okay, pal.
If I were China, I would troll them and I would send another one playing that song over the airwaves.
We just play it loud, you know what I'm saying, over there. But the thing is, you can't control those. Those things go where the weather takes them. There's no remote control there, guys. Are you guys that serious that you really think that? I mean,
okay. So
last section, right?
Yeah, this is an important section, guys.
All right, I'm gonna get
I've talked about this before. It's been 20 years since the war in Iraq, since the United States invaded Iraq, since the occupation. And in that time period, it has caused so much devastation for the people in Iraq and for the people in the United States, for the people that went to war, for the people that were sold this conflict on a pack of lies. And the U.S. empire of lies should be investigated, a top Russian MP said. The U.S. was never held to account over its 2003 invasion of Iraq, which was based on deception, said Vyacheslav Volodin. And he said the UN should open an investigation into Washington's crimes against humanity. And the 20th anniversary, like I said, it was since Secretary of State at the time, Colin Powell's speech at the UN Security Council in order to justify the invasion of Iraq. And he called it, the Russian MP called it one of the biggest deceptions of the global community in the United States. That Powell accused Iraq of producing weapons of mass destruction, providing the infamous vial with white powder as proof, and that it could be used to store anthrax. I remember that clear as day, even though I was completely not sure what was going on. But I do remember that vial.
Yeah. I saw that live and stuff. I mean, I was like kind of glued to it and see what was going on. And, you know, we had the sense that before this has happened, we had the sense, fam, that, you know, they were going to go in there. It was like, wow, they're like kind of putting everything on, you know, Iraq. And a lot of people thought that Saddam Hussein was buddies and work with bin Laden. And when people didn't understand, it's like, you guys don't understand what's going on. Osama bin Laden hates Saddam Hussein. He's a secular leader, right? And freaking Osama bin Laden has no love for Saddam Hussein. And this showed you how ignorant people were. That just because they were Muslims, that they would work together. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people that also understood that, you know, the United States government didn't know what was going on. Very, very obvious that this happens. You see a lot of our Congress members start talking about foreign policy, and you're like, they don't understand. They don't know what's going on. They have no clue. Well, George W. Bush didn't know the difference between a Sunni and a Shia. And you're going in to invade this fucking country, and you don't even know the difference between the two different types of predominant Muslims that live in that country. You don't even have a clue. And I don't think a lot of people understood too as well. And they never paid for this lies. I'm just going to pray right now. The new Iraqi government, please, guys, do not launch any balloons. Do not send any balloons up. Don't do it. You'll put yourself in trouble, Iraq. Do you want to read more of this article, fam?
No, I just wanted to point that out, that he thinks the United States should really pay, and I agree. I agree.
Absolutely.
George Bush should not be making children's books. George Bush should be at the Hague.
He should not be painting.
No.
Fam, here is the infamous Colin Powell, who just passed away. Committed war crimes in Vietnam, this dude. Let's take a look. This is Colin Powell. This is a sad day because this right here, this pitch right here is what brought us into war. They sent Colin Powell to do their bidding. And just like a good little soldier, he went along. And people forgave him for this when he never, ever was accountable for this right here, what you're about to see.
Saddam Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction. None of this should come as a surprise to any of us. Terrorism has been a tool used by Saddam for decades. Saddam was a supporter of terrorism long before these terrorist networks had a name. And this support continues. The nexus of poisons and terror is new. The nexus of Iraq and terror is old. The combination is lethal. With this track record, Iraqi denials of supporting terrorism take their place alongside the other Iraqi denials of weapons of mass destruction. It is all a web of lies. When we confront a regime that harbors ambitions for regional domination, hides weapons of mass destruction, and provides haven and active support for terrorists, we're not confronting the past. We are confronting the present. And unless we act, we are confronting an even more frightening future.
He knew that it was a lie there because he had read all he had all the information, and he knew that there were no weapons of mass destruction. So he wasn't just, exaggerating. He was lying. He was lying to the American public. He was lying to the entire world, to the UN Security Council, and people that oppose this, that for months and months protested against this war, were vilified and told that they weren't real Americans, that they needed to really stand with it. I mean, the jingoism, the what was passed on as patriotism, was disgusting. It was disgusting. And even as a child, I still remember how bad it got and how bad it was. And again, the consequences on our country are horrible, but the consequences to the people of Iraq, they're still living them right now.
There you go, fam.
So 20 years since the U.S. invasion of Iraq and 15 years since this courageous man showed us that not all heroes wear capes. Here's a poignant reminder that the U.S. has never told the truth about its interventionist wars, and their pack of lies continue pushing us closer to disaster. So I took a picture of this because this is at RT, and we were just covering this guy right here. We did, I think it was like a 7-minute interview. You can probably find it at RT.com. And we spoke to him recently, and he said if he could tell Bush, he believes that Bush should pay for all of his war crimes. If he could send him a message, that's his message. What he did was destroy the lives of many Iraqis. This is the guy, of course, that threw the shoes at George Bush. And he also admitted that they took his shoes and they wouldn't give it back. and they wouldn't give it back, not because they thought it was dangerous, but because they didn't want it to become a symbol. And it did. It became a symbol. He became a symbol of protesting U.S. interventionism, not just the war in Iraq, but also U.S. interventionism. And people started leaving their shoes everywhere. So this man became this symbol, and he was a journalist. And it was an important moment.
There's a like a little funny thing out there, fam, where it's got like somebody made a video where it's like a dude going and he's throwing shoes, like he's he's dressed up like an Iraq and he's running around and he's throwing shoes at the targets, and they're like saying, but it is very symbolic. Somebody had told me, like, when you throw your shoe at somebody, it's like it's symbolic of a disgraceful person. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it means more than just what a lot of people kind of made it out to be. They just thought it was an angry guy throwing shoes, but there was something symbolic about it. And he was a reporter as well. So you have this clip here from RT. I'm going to play it real quick, fam. I think I got the time right.
4:47. Yeah.
I think I got it 4:28-ish. Let me try to get it there real quick. I can see 4:47.
Yeah, around that time.
4:45.
A little bit before. Yeah.
Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, fam.
And I'll stop it throughout, and then we're done with this one.
And destabilization it caused throughout the Middle East.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. We will bring to the Iraqi people food and medicines and supplies and freedom, 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 freedom.
Well, in January 2003, US President George W. Bush outlined the coming invasion of Iraq in his State of the Union address. Bush called Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein a, quote, brutal dictator with ties to terrorism, posing a direct threat to the United States. He pledged to disarm Hussein and bring freedom to the Iraqi people, something the US was already involved with in Afghanistan.
The dictator of Iraq is not disarming. To the contrary, he is deceiving. From intelligence sources, we know, for instance, that thousands of Iraqi security personnel are at work hiding documents and materials from the UN inspectors, sanitizing inspection sites, and monitoring the inspectors themselves. If Saddam Hussein does not fully disarm, for the safety of our people and for the peace of the world, we will lead a coalition to disarm him.
Fam, did you want to jump in at any time and say anything? Because I really just wanted to pause really quick and say, like, Did you hear what he was saying? Oh, there's thousands of Iraqis working around the clock to try to hide the evidence and trying to I mean, this is like something out of a fucking movie script. Did the CIA write that speech for him? Like, where does he just say that shit without showing proof and people just buy it? Are they really that naive to think that there were? It was like that movie Fargo where they had the little kids from Iran working to try to put the pictures together from the shredded paper and stuff. They make these claims, fam, that are very like just Hollywood movie script like, and people buy this shit. I mean,
nothing's changed. That's my point in showing this today with everything we've covered. It's the same ridiculous, unbelievable excuses. And the fact that Americans still swallow it up today, I mean, that was January 28th, 2003. My sister was born a day before that. And again, young people have no idea that this happened because they were born after that. So this whole thing that happened, a lot of people don't know how to recognize the intelligence apparatus and their CIA playbook because they've never seen it. But we people like us, we don't have the excuses, especially people that are, in their 40s and 50s and 60s, and we're very much aware as to what happened at that time. And they used 9/11, of course, to get us to cheer for war, but they also used 9/11 to attack us via the surveillance state. I can't even remember what it was like to go to an airport before 9/11, because it's just so muddied now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, after 9/11, everything changed. Everything changed. The surveillance state became the number one enemy of the American people, and it still is today. And they're still using the same exact playbook. Oh, there's a spy balloon. Oh, Russia is going to launch a nuclear attack. They have zero evidence of this, but they do it, and they say it, and they get all these idiots to say it, and all the media to say it, and all the media to cheer for war with Russia, cheer for war with China, cheer to bomb Iran, and they all do it. And then every American goes and says, "Oh yeah, Putin is a dictator, right? Look how we called Saddam a dictator. Putin is a dictator. Gaddafi is a dictator. Xi is a dictator. They're all dictators, except, of course, them." And that is the most enraging thing. It's the projection that the United States uses, the government, and it's, of course, with our money. A lot of do I think most American people want to go to war with China or Russia? No, they don't.
But they sit up and they eat it up because they get their freaking Netflix and their fast food and their drive-through and their delivery, and they can just go on with their life. I asked somebody at a poker game the other day. I said, "Hey, man, what are your thoughts about, the balloon? Did you guys mark yourself safe from the Chinese balloon?" He goes, we started talking. He's like, "I don't care about politics if it doesn't affect my everyday life." It's like they don't care. And then another person next to him was like, "Well, we see what's going on. Like, Putin wants to hurt the U.S." I'm like, how does Putin want to hurt the U.S. by defending his border against Ukraine? Well, that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. They also tell you that the war on terror, an excuse to militarize the region for occupation to control, the same way they did in Latin America since 1823 with the Monroe Doctrine. A friggin' man. Fam, a little bit more of this. This is some good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, the one person who really tried to stop this here, the one person who was vocal about this when we didn't have the internet and everything else, Scott Ritter, will be at the march on Rage Against the Machine march on February 19th. But you want to talk shit about the one guy who went out there and tried to stop a war. Go ahead, please. Tears right here.
Well, later, it turned out that Hussein did not have the so-called weapons of mass destruction program that Washington insisted it had. So it was in March 2003, the US, joined by its allies, launched Operation Iraqi Freedom. The coalition started a bombing campaign directly against the Iraqi government and military installations. Despite months of massive anti-war protests worldwide, US forces invaded Iraq from Kuwait within days. 3 weeks after that, into the invasion, Baghdad fell. The CIA's top weapons inspector in Iraq finally closed the WMD investigation in 2005, concluding there were no such weapons in the country. Well, the years of war and the subsequent rise of terrorism have given a grim toll on Iraq and its people. There are at least 180,000 documented civilian deaths in the country, while some surveys estimate the actual figure to be over 1 million. Many of those died from aerial bombing, shelling, gunshots, and suicide attacks. Over 9 million people either fled the country or were displaced. The US-led coalition lost almost 5,000 of its own soldiers.
Can we just, for a second, harp on this, guys? Can we look at this? Over 1 million Iraqis killed, at least 9.2 million Iraqis displaced, and about 5,000 troops that were killed in action. Now, you know how many troops have been killed since then? By suicide, by killing themselves because they come home and they got PTSD for the things they were meant to do, the things they were forced to do, in a foreign land. Ladies and gentlemen, this is disgusting. They never paid the price. They lied this whole time. Halliburton made so much money, who happened to be, the vice president at the time was the ex. Yeah, okay. You know about Dick Cheney's ties to Halliburton. I mean, this is crazy. Nobody ever paid a price. This is something that George Galloway was screaming about. And guys like Tony Blair We're back at the WEF giving advice, talking in public, while George Bush is writing kids' books and selling his art, fam. This was disgusting, and nobody ever paid a price. You know who paid a price? The people of Iraq, the people of the region, the troops that went and fought there, while the elites, the military-industrial complex, made millions of dollars by running their little racket, because war is a racket, and all wars are bankers' wars, and they're doing it again right now in Ukraine, fam.
And they're going to continue doing it until Americans put a stop to it. So there's that. I mean, that was the gist of what I wanted to show. And the reason I wanted to show that, and there's so many more videos I could put up from RT, because we're censored. You can't see my stuff. You can't search me from the United States, right? Our friend Ben Rubenstein proved that. He tried to look Wyatt and I up on Twitter.
Oh, forget about it.
And it won't come up. If the VPN says from United States, it won't come up. If he switched it to Nicaragua, the brutal dictatorship that the United States sanctions, you could find me in Wyatt, but you couldn't find us on the US via Twitter. So it just goes to show you we're censored. We're called propagandists. You can't watch RT in Europe. They just they had to get rid of the office in Germany because of Belgium. Again, like this is why people never see the stuff I post. And so this is my way of trying to get you to see what they talk about. When's the last time you saw CNN or Fox News do a rundown on the war in Iraq and what really happened and what really went down? They're never going to do that. They will never do that. You will only find that on RT or on independent media like Mint Press and others that really go over what exactly was the truth of what happened. But you're not going to find it on major network TV. That's why RT is no longer on television. Yeah. Because with like reports like that, oh no, you're going to know what actually happened. Somebody might actually see that and find out that the American people were lied to, and that they're still being lied to this day into more wars. And nothing's changed. And that is something that they can't afford. So they use the excuse that it's Russian propaganda in order to get people to say, oh no, whatever she says is false because it's Russian propaganda. No, what you presented, what I presented there, what Yunin was talking about was the breakdown of what actually happened. Pasta, you were there. That actually happened. All of that happened. None of that is a lie. None of those numbers are lies. In fact, if anything, those numbers are understated.
Probably. I mean, yeah. It's like I said, the numbers of the suicides from the troops doesn't ever get recorded, and that's part of them going on fight over there. They come home, they live a life of misery, mentally torn, PTSD, had to do awful things, made to do awful things in a foreign country. It's just terrible. Applejack also put another Rumble rant over there. Thank you so much, Applejack, today for the Rumble rants. We do appreciate it. Every single penny helps us out. Do you think we can have a revolution with all the gadgets and the comfortability we have here in the U.S.? I don't think so. Like I said, people, instead of going out and have a revolution, they'll stay home, watch Netflix, and order Domino's. Fam, just because I want to make Steve proud of me, he's got one of his favorite comedians, Bill Hicks, does this whole thing on Iraq. Let's listen to this real quick, and then we'll get on out of here and thank everybody and do our thing, guys. Here's Bill Hicks on Iraq.
And during we had this big war thing happen. I don't know if you caught any of that, but it was a very stressful time for me, the war. I'll tell you why. I was in the unenviable position of being for the war, but against the troops. And not the most popular stance I've ever taken on an issue, I must say. I don't choose wisely always, and yet I'm committed. So, first of all, this needs to be said. There never was a war. How can you say that, Bill? Well, a war is when two armies are fighting. So you see, right there, I think we can all agree. It wasn't exactly a war. And Bush, President Bush, a complete surprise, he turned into a demon, man. When he was first president, they called him the wimp president. I mean, this was the cover of Newsweek. Wimp president. Apparently, this stuck in this guy's craw. Guy turned into a fucking demon, man. We surrender. Not good enough. We run away. Too little, too late. We're having way too much fun. Those guys were in hog heaven out there. You understand, man? They had a big weapons catalog opened up. What's G12 do, Tommy? Well, it says here it destroys everything but the fillings in their teeth. Helps us pay for the war effort. Well, shit, pull that one up. Pull up G12, please. Cool. What's G13 do?
Fam, they did. They took, a whole arsenal out there. And that was the whole thing too, as well. I don't know if you remember after that, the major operations ended there. A lot of that weaponry came back and they acclimated it into the police force. So they had weapons of war coming back from Iraq that were used to kill millions of people, displace millions of people, came back home, and now they get to kill millions of people here in the United States. So it's, we're fucking addicted to it, fam, and it's just it's a sad story. But yeah, that was it. That was Iraq. Nobody's ever paid a price, and we keep listening to these same assholes who got us into all these wars tell us that we need to do these things to make sure that we defend ourselves. We need to act preemptively in the name of national security to defend ourselves. I mean, this is what they're saying.
You got to get them over there so they don't get us over here. They literally repeat the same line.
Yes. Yeah.
The same lines.
Fam, anything else to tell people? What do you got going on? You're not on the news desk for a couple days. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not. I need a break. I was my voice is hoarse from having to talk so much. So yeah, I have a.
Well, on Wednesday, fam, we're going to have Johnny Vedmore come on the show, talk some stuff. First, Johnny Vedmore making his first appearance on the Convo Couch. Johnny V. I hope he wears his Adidas outfit. I want to go hang out with Johnny and Jason Burmis, Johnny Vedmore and Jason Burmis, and I want to buy my own Adidas outfit. Like, I think Burmis has a red one, and Johnny might have a blue one, and I'll wear a white one. So we'll be like red, white, and blue, walking with our Adidas jackets, that's what I want more than anything and stuff, fam. But Johnny Vedmore is going to be on Wednesday, so come join us, and we'll have some more great guests throughout the whole week. Fam.
I have more videos coming up, and I did an interview with Kim Iverson. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
How was it?
It was good. It was good. It's always good talking to Kim. My brother was engineering the show, and he was being annoying beforehand.
Of course.
So,
it's your brother.
Yeah, he was like, wipe your camera. There's makeup on it. And Kim's like, Fiorella, there's totally nothing on there. He's lying to you. I'm like, I know.
If you got a few bucks, you can help it out. Rage Against the War Machine. Anything helps. My Venmo is there at Craig Jardula. My Cash App is $ Pasta Jardula. Anything helps.
So what's your Snapchat? Because now we got to know your Snapchat.
Ma'am, I'm not starting in. I don't have a Snapchat. If you want to help us get to Cuba, givesendgo.com/theconvo in Cuba. That's givesendgo.com, the convo in Cuba. Very, very important, guys. We're going to go there and try to check out those elections. That's it for today, fam. Luckily, Fred Edwards found us a song that doesn't have any royalties. It's a cover of Luftballons, fam. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you soon, guys. Thank you to all our Patreons. Thank you to everybody who helped on out. We'll see you soon. We're going to end with this song. Please, peace, baby. Let's throw the signs up February 19th. Let's rage against this war machine. It's time to push back. We have to stop these psychos for leading us into war and just causing death and destruction. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Oh, yeah. Have a good night, everybody, except the Vanguard.
Wow. Wait. Wow. That's the Vanguard.
Hast du etwas Zeit für mich, dann singe ich ein Lied für dich.
Bam.
Fam, what did you want to say? Did you want to say something?
No.
You said wait.
Huh?
You said wait, I thought. You ready for this?
Did I?
Yeah. All
Yes.
right. Stop. Here we go. 99.
Hast du etwas Zeit für mich, dann singe ich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons auf ihrem Weg zum Horizont. Denkst du vielleicht grad an mich, dann singe ich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons und dass sowas von sowas kommt. Luftballons auf ihrem Weg zum Horizont geht man für UFOs aus dem All. Darum schickte ein General eine Fliegerstaffel hinterher, Alarm zu geben, wenn's so wär. Dabei war dort am Horizont 99 Luftballons. 99 Luftballons. 99 Düsenflieger, jeder war ein großer Krieger, hielten sich für Captain Kirk. Das gab ein großes Feuerwerk, die Nachbarn haben nichts gerafft und fühlten sich gleich angemacht. Dabei schoss man am Horizont auf 99 Luftballons. 99 Luftballons. Decision Street, 99 ministers meet to worry, super scurry. Call the troops out in a hurry. And this is what we waited for. This is it, boys. This is war. The president is on the line. 99 red balloons go by. 99 red balloons go by. 99 Jahre Krieg ließen keinen Platz für Sieger. Kriegsminister gibt's nicht mehr und auch keine Düsenflieger. Heute zieh ich meine Runden. Ich seh die Welt in Trümmern liegen.